Today we bring this 1972 Murdered Out Chevy pickup truck back from the dead. We're going to change out the front clip, add rear disc brakes, and a whole lot more. Paris, France. Oh, I think it was a cool April day. Her name was May, I think.
Are we doing this again?
You couldn't knock? Dude, I'm having a moment.
It's starting to get a little uncomfortable for everybody. I mean, you're like 50, dude, and you can't play a note. You gotta let it go. I mean, I like where you're going with the hair and this, but you ain't bringing the music back, son. I hate to be the one to break it to you.
You're not very inspirational.
So moving on, we got a 1972 Chevy truck in the shop today. It's been pretty much all murdered out. Now, this thing is a pretty cool looking truck, and we're gonna bring it back, not like Matt and his music. Now, what's nice about this thing, it's got a nice little 383 underneath the hood, and it really zips. The problem is this guy kind of lost his way once he put the motor in, and I think he kind of ran out of money, and that's where we're going to come into play.
So we hooked up with our buddies over at Brothers Truck Parts. They've got these great catalogs, and these guys know Chevy trucks. We're talking about thousands of parts for Chevy trucks from 1947 to 1987. These guys have got it going on, and they've got everything you need. Like, for example, we want to change out this front clip, so we called them. We said, look, we're changing out this front clip. We need the clip, the hardware, the springs, everything that goes along with it. Send it to us, and that's exactly what they did, man. I love it.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to get everything from one place.
Right.
Now, not only are we going to change the look of this, we're also going to upgrade some things on this thing as well. We're going to get rid of some of the rust, and we're going to go to the back first and change the brakes. We're going to go from that drum brake to a disc brake set. To do that, we got to get that bed off.
All right, that's good, but just to be sure, you're saying a no on the guitar.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
On 3, 1, 2. Wait,
Hold on.
don't you have people that lift for you?
Dude, we got all these guys around here that nobody ever sees. Let's bring some in. Come on, fellas, we need a hand, please.
Make sure they don't talk.
Listen, hey, here's the rule. You guys can help us, but you can't say anything, okay? Don't talk. All right, ready?
Ready?
1, 2, 3. Oh, this is...
It's much easier this way.
Oh, yeah, hold on. Hold on.
Boy, you are getting old.
I had to get my hand out of there. It was very dangerous. Nice job, guys. Thank you. Beat it.
Soy milk in that coffee, thanks.
So, Bruno, you were talking earlier about the fact that this has been sitting for a little while and there was some rust in areas. Now, if you take a look at the top of the inside of this bed right here, that's where a lot of that rust is. So the good thing is these old beds come apart and we can actually take this piece off and replace it.
So what we did is call up Brothers Truck Parts and get a new piece of sheet metal to go across the front. So we'll take that one off, the old one on bolts, bolt the new one in, and it'll look like pretty much a new bed because the rest of it's actually intact for the most part. Now with the newer trucks, you can't do that. What's kind of the nice things about these old trucks is there's a lot of parts out there and a lot of them can be swapped out pretty easily. With the truck up in the air, now we can do our disc brake conversion. What we're going to do is get rid of these 30-year-old rusted out drum brakes and replace it with a brand new disc conversion kit from Brothers Truck Parts. Now, once we got the truck up, we noticed something on the passenger side, and that was a leak coming from the drum. That can mean one of two things. We've got a leak either in the axle seal or the wheel cylinder. Either way, what we're doing is getting oil on this brake shoe. When that happens, your brakes are no good, so it couldn't come at a better time to go ahead and do this upgrade. Well, before we can go ahead and put on our new stuff, we've got to get the old stuff out of the way. Mainly, we've got to get this backing plate off, so to do that, the axle has to come out. Now, this is a C-clip rear differential, and what we have to do is go ahead, first of all, drain the oil out, which we already did, then climb back here and move the C-clips, which are holding the axles in place. So we get this little bolt out of the way right here, because it's a center pin, which is keeping the axle from giving some travel. All right, with that center pin now out of the way, we should be able to push in our axle like that, and now pop off this C-clip. C-clip off, and now we should be able to slide the axle out, continue our disassembly. Just like that. Now the rest of the drum brake assembly came off pretty quick. All we had to do was take off these 4 bolts and cut the brake line and emergency brake. And the reason why we were able to do that is we're putting all new stuff in with this new kit. So Got our mounting bracket in place. Now we have to slide in our axle, and the only thing you have to do is make sure you find the splines like that, and it'll go right into place. Now we're going to put our new rotor on, and a little help for you guys at home is just take one of the lug nuts and put it on the bottom here so it won't fall off. Next comes our brake caliper. That'll go on like that. And we are going to have a much better braking assembly on this truck. Now, Brothers makes these for 1951 up to 87 half-ton trucks, and they've got them for both the 5 and 6 lug configurations.
Dude, you've been doing a great job, man. That's awesome. I've been doing a little work on my own, writing some new stuff, you know?
I've noticed.
You about to go to commercial?
Can't give that up, can you?
Let me play you the break. You ready?
You know, at this point, you might as well.
We'll be right back. And that looks about right. Welcome back to TruckU. Now today we're working on this 1972 Chevrolet. When we brought you guys into this, it was already a work in progress, and we had a couple of things already done, like this master cylinder was already in place. Now at first glance, you notice this thing is up a couple inches off of the firewall, and that makes room for this leverage bar right here. And that's going to do all the work of the brake, but it's going to give you a much softer pedal on the inside, so you've got a lot more comfortable driving. Some guys might look at this too and go, hey, look, it's dipping down. There's a little bit of an angle on here. It's at about 4 or 5 degrees. Some guys might ask, hey, is that going to be a problem? Absolutely not. That is perfectly fine and good to go. Now it's time to fill up the lines with new brake fluid, and we're going to use the Power Brake Bleeder from Motive Products. We use this thing all the time because it makes life so much easier. All we need to do is dump a little bit of fluid in here and get that ready to go. Now we've already topped off right there underneath that adapter. So that adapter is going to allow us to pressurize the system. And we're going to do that to about 15 PSI. Then really all we need to do is hook this in. One of the things I like to do is I actually purge the air out of this line too. So I will just run some fluid into here and then tighten this down. It's just a personal thing. All we have to do is take this. This is going to do the job of the second man right there. You can hang this bottle on there, open up the bleeder, stick this on there, hang the bottle, and you will sit there and wait until the fluid comes through nice and clean with no bubbles in it. So whether you're putting in new fluid or flushing out old, if it's old, you're just waiting for the clean stuff to come through. If it's new, you're just waiting for all the bubbles to go, and the job is done. You get done with the one furthest away, come up, check your pressure, make sure it didn't dip too bad, go back to the next one, all the way around the vehicle, and you do that to all 4 brake lines, and the job is done. So not only is it quicker and easier and more precise, but you can do that job yourself with the Power Brake Bleeder from Motive Products. I tell you, this little guy right here is going to pay for himself the first time you use it.
About ready to get the clip? Yeah, I think we're going to find out quickly if we got everything unhooked. Got it?
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Separation is complete. All right. I mean, that's a pretty cool look right there, actually.
I don't know if it's street legal per se, but hey, you know, it might work for some people.
That's of no concern right now. We can get at everything nicely though, huh?
So the next thing we're going to do is replace this whole door window assembly with all brand new parts from Brothers Truck Parts. Now what we're doing is giving this thing a little more function and a little more style, what we're looking for. And we're going to eliminate this vent window here, put a one-piece window in, and it's going to have power, which will make this thing a lot more, well, user-friendly. You know, you never know you miss power windows till you get in a vehicle that doesn't have them. It's a nice little luxury I think a lot of us take for granted. So this one will have power windows as well, so it'll be pretty nice to use. Now the only thing we have to do though is we've got to get 2 of the frame rails inside of the window out of the old door to use on the new one. In order to do that, we've got to get this vent window out of the way first to get to that existing window. So I've got 2 of the screws out of the way. Now we need to pull this one out. It's been in here for 35 years, so it takes a little bit to get it. There we go. Now with the old vent window out of the way, we can try and maneuver to get the old window out of the way. So crank it up here, and what we're trying to do is get it off its track. So this might take a second. I think we found the sweet spot here. Off its track. Aha! That is what we're looking for. The whole idea is, even though we're using all new hardware, we still need this bottom track. So what we use is a screwdriver and hammer and gently tapped open the end of the track to give it a a little bit of room to wiggle, and we're able to pull the window out. We can still use this track and the other one we're looking for on our new assembly. Now the new window that's going to go into place is aesthetically much better looking than the old one. Now we obviously removed this vent window with this one piece here. It's 35% gray. It's got that whole murdered out look to it, and I think it looks a lot sleeker as one piece. And we're going to go with a whole new door that's electro deposit primer. This sprayed with it will keep this door from rusting out because, let's face it, the old one is not looking so good. It's got a bunch of big rust spots across the bottom, and we want to keep this thing with as little filler as possible, especially when you get a brand new one from Brothers. Why not just do it? The last part of the puzzle here is the panel. Now this one is a 71 versus the 72, but it goes much better with our whole power window assembly. So we're going to have a whole brand new door. All we have to do now is put it all together.
Welcome back to TruckU. Today, with the help of our friends over at Brothers Truck Parts, we are restoring this 1972 classic Chevy truck, and it's coming along real nice. Now, one of the things we did was the new clip is just about ready to go on. That's from a 67, so that's going to look sweet. Another thing we did was the brakes. We upgraded those, gave it a softer pedal, so this whole vehicle is going to handle a lot better. Next on the list is the steering column. Now, this is the new remanufactured steering column that's going to go in and replace the existing one. The reason we're doing that is, much like the brakes where that's going to give us more control, the steering is old and loose and it's kind of all over the place. So we're going to tighten that up with some all new components. Now the good thing about this is you talk about all the wiring and the switches and the levers in this new column, and there's all brand new. Everything is good. So all we have to do is get this existing one out of the way. Now up on the other side of the equation right there, we had to loosen up a few things, disconnect this and that, and the shifter. Now underneath here there's one bracket, and I just about have that ready to go. And once we get this out of here, we can pull this one out. Let's get up under here. That one's tricky to get at. All right, and we will sneak up. And there we go. All right, so we got that bracket out of the way, and this should come out. The shifter, you got to fish that around. Okay, so we get this one out of the way, and we'll replace that with our new one. Now here's another cool thing. When you call up the guys at Brothers and you tell them what you're doing, like, hey, I'm replacing the steering column, they're going to make sure that you get all these little pieces and parts too. Make sure you get everything you need. That way, if you forgot about something, you don't have to worry about it, because they're going to send you everything. See, this has saved hours of work, right? It has, it has.
Now, in order to bring that old truck back from the dead, we're bolting on a lot of new parts from Brothers Truck Parts. But the problem is we've got a lot of old bracketry that we're using to put those parts into place. So rather than spend a long time getting the rust off, we're calling on an old friend, the guys at Metal Rescue.
This is the Metal Rescue Rust Remover Bath from Workshop Hero, which is a division of Armor. They call it a Workshop Hero because it does the work for you. We know how tedious it can be to take the rust off and remove all that. Those days are over. You just put it in there, dip it in there and soak it, and the job is done, man. It really couldn't get any easier than this.
Now, these are two bumper brackets. One is right here, as you can see, it's pretty rusted out. The other one's been soaking for about 2 hours, and you can see it is just about done. All the rust is off, and now it's like you've got a brand new part again to work with. So anything you drop in, it's going to clean up, it's going to take the rust off, and that's all it's going to attack. It won't attack the paint.
Now, here's another thing I like about it is the fact that you can reuse it. So you use it again and again, right? Now you get to the point where you're ready to throw it away. You don't have to call the hazmat team or anything like that. It's environmentally safe. You dump it down the drain, you throw it out in the yard, whatever you have to do. So it's easy to clean your parts and get the rust off, and it's easy to get rid of. It's the Metal Rescue Rust Remover Bath, and it is the Workshop Hero, man. I love this stuff. So
I'm going to do a little more work, and we're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll have some rust-free parts to work with.
That's why this is the Workshop Hero, and you're not.
Come on, where's the love?
You know?
For more information about anything you've seen on today's show, check out speed.com or visit our website at truckutv.com.
So we've got our new door in place, and it looks good, but trust me, there's a lot of work left to do to make this thing fit right. And that's all part of the project. You know, you want to make sure you got all the lines lined up pretty well, and it'll give it that nice finished look. Now, one thing we're going to do, which is going to be pretty cool, is this thing came with a new set of handles, of course. But what we're going to do is eliminate the handles and give it a shaved look. So we'll end up cutting this part out, putting in a new piece of metal, welding it in place and filing it all down so I have a nice flush look going all the way back, and I think it'll really go with that whole theme we're looking for in this truck. Now, while it's set in place, we're going to end up painting everything, but before we do that, we want to finish off the whole fitting of the door with a new striker plate. So this will go in place here and take off the old one. The reason why we're putting a new one on is, well, we want it to have a nice solid fit when you shut the door. This little bushing here on the old one's pretty much wore out, so you'll never get that closed fit when you shut the door until you put a new one on. So we'll get that in place, we'll get everything fitted right, and then we can paint everything before we start assembling that door.
That door is going to close like a new vehicle. That's going to be nice.
Yeah.
Hey, can you hand me that gauge cluster real quick? Cool. Thanks, man. Here's another thing we're replacing on the inside. And you take a look at this, we're going with the same look right here. Obviously, with it all murdered out, we're going with the black look versus the silver, so there's a difference. But take a look at this on the back. This is pretty cool because with all of the circuit technology right there, it's all plug and play and very similar to what was in here in 1972 when this truck was made. Now look at this. This circuitry was around in 72. This is almost 40 years old. It's kind of like the B-Man, only it's not old and broken down. This is all going to work, and it's very simple. It's plug and play. You know what the cool thing is? The guys at Brothers, this is for a 67 to 72 model right there, but they've got them for all the Chevy trucks. So if you want to replace that quick and easy on the gauges, boom, the job is done. So we'll get to this here in a little bit.
Here, check this out. This one moves.
Oh, yeah.
That one, not so much.
Yeah, that's kind of rusty.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, let's get this ready. We'll do this here in a little bit. We need to roll this back a little bit and get on that front clip.
All right.
You good?
Yep.
I was just kidding on that.
Are you actually going to push?
You know?
Because I am old and broken down. Now today we're in the lab and we want to talk to you guys a little bit about using Zmax in your engine, whether it's an older engine or a new one. There's a great deal of benefits that go for both. First of all, it's a micro lubricant. It's going to lubricate all your internal components at a much higher level than just using oil alone.
Now let's say you're like me and you've got a 1996 Ford Ranger pushing almost 200,000 miles. Odds are pretty good there's some carbon deposits in there. Well, that's easy to take care of with the Zmax. You add it into the system. It gets carried around by the oil and the fuel to the places where the oil and fuel can't go, and it will slowly get rid of those carbon deposits. Now, how does it soak into the metal? It does that with the heat cycles. It takes probably about 1,000 miles is what we like to say. You know, it gets in there, the engine has to get hot, then it cools down, it gets hot and cools down. While it's doing that, the pores of the metal are opening up and the Zmax is getting in there, and that's what's allowing the Zmax to soak in.
Now, we talk about engines. One thing I want to point out is Zmax has got a product, the only one of its type that's approved by the FAA for piston-driven aircraft engines. Now, think about that. They're flying high in the sky. They don't have anywhere to pull over if they've got a problem. If they have to pull over, it's going to get ugly. So if they can rely on it, you can rely on Zmax in your engine as well. Man, I can't help noticing that engine, bro. I mean, I want to dig inside there.
You know what's nice is there's so much room in there, right?
Hey, welcome back. As you can see, we've got our 67 front clip on our 72 truck, and I got to tell you, it really changed the whole look of the vehicle. This is really sharp.
Well, we can finally see where we're going, and it's not like we've got the pieces and parts laid out all over the place anymore. You can see what this project is going to look like. You know, we're very visual. We've got to see that thing, and now we can, man. I like it. So let's take a look at some of the other parts that are going to go on the front, kind of the facelift that's going on in the front end. That's the old bumper. This looks so much better, man. Look at that.
Yeah, it's a whole streamlined look. It goes with this whole look we're going for in the truck. It's a huge improvement of the old one.
Now, these little trim pieces will go right up here, too. Now, keep in mind, we're going to paint these and black them out to go with that whole murdered out theme right here. So this is going to just, you're not even going to see it, but it's going to be there, right?
Yeah, that whole black chrome thing, I think will fit what we're looking for. And, you know, surprisingly, you know, this front clip really went on nice. You know, you get a little leery sometimes when you buy parts that's supposed to be a direct fit because usually there's a lot of chopping, channeling to go. This went right on, which is great.
Now, let's talk about the springs that we need to put in there, okay? So we've spaced these out a little bit, which was a good idea because actually when you get these and they're new, they're real stiff. So the odds of hanging that on there and just pulling it down with one arm, that's not going to happen.
No, you're definitely not doing that.
If you've got one of these, it comes in real handy because you can just get in there and stretch that spring out, right? Put some spacers in there and you're ready to go. But you can also get creative with some other ways too if you have to.
Yeah, be careful. I mean, a lot of times you can use your vise to help you stretch it out a little bit here and there. You can get creative, but be careful. You keep your fingers away because if one of those pops out, you get your finger in there, it's definitely going to leave a mark.
Well, and these, when the hood's about halfway down and the spring's stretched out, these will fall out. You can pick them up and everything will be good as new. Now, to the next step. You look at all this stuff. This is like the supporting cast, right? That's the stuff right there that kind of wows you, catches your eye. But you need all of this stuff too to make it all happen, and it's all laid out from the guys at Brothers Truck Parts.
Yeah, you've got the bushings here for the body, your molding here for the doors, all the latches, all the little pieces and parts, so it can be really hard to find some places. It's nice because we called up Brothers, we got everything we needed just from them. It saved us a lot of time hunting around for all the little stuff that makes all the difference.
Yeah, man, there's just boxes of stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's like Christmas, right? All right, let's get back over here and take another look, because the good thing about this, the fact that it is a direct factory replacement, is a lot of the prep work, like when you're getting it ready for paint, you know, we're using all the factory bolt holes and everything else like that. So a lot of the prep work that you would have if it was just like another piece that you were bringing in is all done. So it cuts down on a lot of time.
Yeah, it makes going down to the boneyard, getting old parts that you've got to beat on and sand and grind to try and make work, a complete waste of time. I would never go back after getting something like this.
Right, all right, well, let's get this ready. We'll get this prepped for some paint work, and I've got just the idea for this.
I figured you would.
Well, I'm on it, man, you know?
Let's go inside the Dupli-Color Garage. Dupli-Color, yes you can, in your garage.
All day long, we've been talking about this cool matte finish that we want to give this truck, and we want to do that from the inside out. This is a great time to do it because we got the new clip, the tubs are out, and everything's apart. Now think about it. If we put it all back together, then we'd have to go around the engine to paint it, and it just wouldn't work out nearly as well. What we're going to use is the Dupli-Color Paint Shop Finish System, and what this is, it's a nice do-it-yourself system that requires no mixing or reducing. You simply pour it into the gun and spray it. So the first thing we're going to do is hit these with some Paint Shop Black. Now we are going to add our matte finish clear coat, but before we pour from the can to the gun, we use some tape to make a spout, and that's going to help me spill a lot less. This matte finish is looking fantastic. It's going to look awesome on this truck, but let's say you didn't want to go with that matte finish. You wanted to go with more of a traditional gloss. Well, the paint shop has two different clear coats that you can put on there, so you've got your options. You know, another cool thing I like about the paint shop system is there's no recoat window. So if you mess up or if you notice a little blemish here or there, you can always go back and fix it. It's as easy as going from the can to the gun, and you are done. Another thing to keep in mind, just common sense, anytime you're doing a paint project, make sure you do it in a well-ventilated area. So if you want some more information about Dupli-Color or any of the paint shop products, be sure to check out Dupli-Color's website. That's going to wrap it up for us this week. This is coming along nicely, and we will see you guys next time.